Hello students, now we'll continue. We were on Coriolis effect. This is the Coriolis effect. As Earth rotates, places near the equator travel faster than places closer to the poles. This difference in speed causes the Coriolis effect. Wind moving from the poles to the equator is deflected to the west. Wind moving from the equator to the poles is deflected towards the east. The Coriolis effect causes wind and water to move along curved paths. The polar easterlies, prevailing westerlies, and trade winds are all winds that we feel on the ground. So all these types of winds, we feel them on the ground. However, wind systems can also form at high altitude, like jet streams. Jet streams are narrow belts of very high speed winds in the upper troposphere and lower stratosphere. They blow from west to east all the way round the earth. This is some more information about the jet streams. Now, as I told you all about the relation between wind and pressure, I spoke to you all about the Coriolis force. This centrifugal force also, we'll understand this. When an airstream moves on a curved course, as in pressure system with closed or curved isobars, it is subjected to centrifugal force acting towards from the center of curvature. If you stand with your back in the northern hemisphere, pressure is lower on your left than on your right, and the reverse applies in the southern hemisphere. The fourth point, if I can talk about, is friction. Now, what is friction wherein the relation between wind and pressure is concerned? Friction tends to decrease air velocities. Air that moves over the Earth's surface has some of its mechanical energy transformed into other forms of energy because of friction, and thus its velocity decreases. Now, the friction with surface, since it decreases, wind velocity also tends to decrease. The amount of Coriolis deflection, which is proportional to the straight line velocity. This decrease in the Coriolis deflection in turn tends to alter wind direction in no longer parallel the isobars as in geostrophic flow, but crosses them somewhat in the direction of pressure gradient. So the surface winds usually cross isobars at about 10-degree angle over oceans and may reach angles up to 45 degrees over rough land surfaces. Now, what are local winds? These are the different types of winds which you all need to be aware of. They are winds that generally move over short distances and blow from any direction. Local winds are caused by differences in temperature. Many of these temperature differences are caused by geographic features such as mountains and bodies of water. Local winds. We have learned about sea breeze and land breeze, mountain valley winds, winds caused by geography. Now, during the day, what happens? During the day, the ocean heats up more slowly than the land. A cool sea breeze blows from the ocean to the land. The land heats up quickly. The air above it warms and rises. This produces an area of low pressure, so the sea breeze can blow over the land. In the night, what happens? At night, the ocean cools off more slowly than the land. So at both times, it is slow as compared to the land. The warmer air from over the ocean rises, producing an area of low pressure. The land breeze can blow over the ocean. The land cools off quickly. The air above it cools and sinks towards the ocean, producing a cool land breeze. Sea and land breeze. It's a differential solar heating is due to different heat capacities of land and water. Sea breeze from ocean to land, and land breeze is from land to ocean in very simple terms. The air masses. What are air masses? It is a very large volume of air that has certain temperature and moisture content. Classified by water content and temperature of the air, these features depend on where the air mass forms. The area over which an air mass forms is called a source region. One source region is the Gulf of Mexico. Air masses that form from over the source region are wet and warm. Storms and air masses. Now, storms are disturbances with strong winds and precipitation. What are air masses? They are large volumes of air with distinct properties. The fronts. Places where two air masses meet. The storms typically develop at fronts. This is a form of front, cold front. You all can go through this. How does it take place? How is the movement? It forms when a cold air mass pushes a warmer air mass away. The front moves in the direction that the cold air mass is moving. Then there is a warm front. A warm front forms when a warm air mass moves in a cold air mass that is leaving an area. A warm front forms when a warm air mass moves in and replaces a cold air mass. The front moves in the direction the warm air mass is moving. Now, these are small terminologies or some things, some terms which are associated with wind. What is a thunderstorm? A thunderstorm is an intense storm with stronger winds, heavy rain, lightning, and thunder. Many thunderstorms happen along cold fronts. Thunderstorms are associated with cumulonimbus or thunderhead clouds. Two conditions are necessary for the thunderstorm to form: warm moist air near the earth's surface and an unstable area of atmosphere. This all comes under wind. Thunderstorm formation. How does a thunderstorm form? That also is there for you all to read. This is information. This is basically under the topic of relation between wind and pressure. Lightning. How does lightning take place? As a cloud grows bigger, parts of it begin to develop electrical charges. The upper parts of the cloud tend to become positively charged. The lower parts tend to become negatively charged. If this charge builds up enough, it is discharged within the cloud as lightning. So this is how the lightning takes place. Sheet lightning rises from the base to top. Forked lightning extends the quickest way down from cloud to the ground. We have seen different kinds of lightning taking place. How does it happen? This is the way it happens. With the help of a diagram, you all can relate to it. Thunder. You have probably seen large lightning bolts that travel between clouds and the ground. When lightning moves through the air gets very hot. The hot air expands rapidly. As it expands, it makes the air vibrate. The vibrations release energy in the form of sound waves. This results in thunder. Hurricane, we just studied about hurricane, how is it a part of wind and pressure. So hurricane is a violent tropical maritime storm known as a tropical cyclone in the Indian Ocean and a typhoon in the Pacific. Most hurricanes form between 5 degree north and 20 degree north latitude or between 5 degrees south and 20 degrees south latitude. They form over the warm tropical oceans found at these latitudes. The water is too cold for hurricanes to form. Now, how does hurricane form? For each of these terms, I have told you what do they mean and how are their formations, how do they form. A hurricane begins as a group of thunderstorms traveling over tropical ocean waters. Winds traveling in two different directions meet and cause the storm to spin. Because of the Coriolis effect, hurricanes rotate counterclockwise in northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. The sun's energy causes ocean water to evaporate. As the water vapor rises in the air, it cools and condenses. A group of thunderstorms form and produce a large spinning storm. A hurricane forms as the storm gets stronger. The major global wind system again. Over here, the trade winds meet and rise near the equator in a region known as doldrums. The wind is weak in the doldrums. The region between the trade winds and the westerly is known as horse latitudes. Here, the cold air sinks, creating a region of high pressure. The winds here are very weak. Now, a tornado. How does a tornado also form? A tornado can form when a rapidly spinning column of air called a funnel cloud touches the ground. The air in the center of a tornado has low pressure belt. When the area of low pressure touches the ground, material from the ground can be sucked up into a tornado. Now, in this topic, what you all are supposed to really know about are the different belts, the Earth's surface wind system, and the different pressure belts under the wind system. That is the equatorial belt, the trade wind, the subtropical belt, the westerlies, and the easterlies. This tornado, how they are formed, hurricanes, how are they formed, what is it, lightning, thunderstorm. This is for you all to understand simply. This is basic information, just a basic revision of what climate means, what are the different types of equinoxes and all of that, seasons. What are the reasons for the changing seasons on Earth, the seasons of the Earth, the solstice and equinox. The difference between the latitude lines related to the changes in climate. How are you all to analyze it and how are you all supposed to uh, actually integrate it into the topic what we are learning, pressure belts or the ocean currents or the wind system, the atmosphere, the lithosphere, all of that is very important. Polar regions are areas where it receives least amount of sunlight, so places located here are very cold. In fact, for half a year, these areas do not receive sunlight at all. Middle latitude lines, they are temperate. Sun never shines directly in these areas, so they are cooler in than the tropics. See how do the sun rays reach in polar latitudes and mid latitudes and the tropics. Now, the next topic I'm going to talk about is water cycle. Have a look at this picture. This is an important part for the next chapter also, but the topic now what we are going to talk about has a lot of relevance with this. Now, let's understand concepts individually and then we all put together, we'll see what it is. Evaporation occurs when the sun heats up water in rivers or lakes or the ocean and turns it into vapor or steam. The water vapor or steam leaves the river, lake or ocean and goes into the air. This is what happens. Stage 2, condensation. Condensation occurs when water vapor or steam in the air gets cold and changes from a gas back into liquid, forming clouds. So look at the picture and relate to this term. It occurs when the water vapor or steam in the air gets cold and changes from gas back into the liquid, forming clouds. So the reason of showing you all the water cycle is there's some relation with it to precipitation. The last topic In the third lesson, atmosphere is precipitation. Precipitation occurs when so much water has condensed that the clouds get heavy and water falls back to the earth in the form of rain, hail, sleet or snow. It is caused when moist air rises. It's actually when moist air rises, water vapor in the air cools and condenses and forms clouds. Air cools upwards through the atmosphere because temperature falls with altitude because the Earth's atmosphere is heated from the Earth's surface up over. When these water droplets in clouds grow to a certain size, gravity causes them to fall because of their own weight. I repeat, when the water droplets in clouds grow to a certain size in the clouds, the gravity causes them to fall because of their own weight. Basically, precipitation is a very common phenomenon, students, in the atmosphere of our Earth. This always comes from clouds. Precipitation always comes from clouds. Collection. This is when the water that falls from the clouds as rain, snow, hail, or sleet collects in the oceans, rivers, lakes, or streams. Most will soak into the ground and will collect as underground water. The four stages of our water cycle: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. Now, let's understand the different forms of water. The precipitation includes rain, drizzle, snow, sleet, and hail. Now, let's understand the first one is rain. We all know about rain. Rain is a type of precipitation. The liquid particles, either in the form of drops of 5 millimeter diameter or scattered drops, fall from up. So rain is the most common type of precipitation in our atmosphere. Rain is when liquid droplets fall on the surface of the earth. There are different two forms of rain. They are showers or drizzles. Now showers are heavy, large drops of rain and usually only last a period of time. Drizzles, however, usually last longer and are made up of smaller droplets of water. Rain can either be formed as ice crystals, melt, or it can be small water droplets. Now, on occasions, falling raindrops completely evaporate before reaching the ground. Such rainfall is called virage. In opposite to this, the precipitation process is very active. The lower air is moist and the clouds are very deep. Rainfall takes the form of very heavy downpours. Snow. Now, this is a precipitation of white and opaque grains of snow. In other words, snow is precipitation of solid water. Generally, in the winter season, when temperatures are below freezing point, the ice crystals falling from the altostratus cloud do not melt and reach the ground as snow. Especially, we need to know what makes snow come down as white opaque grains. Snow is the second most common precipitation in the Northeast. Snow forms when water vapor turns directly into ice without even passing through a liquid state. So what does how does snow occur? It is basically in winter season when the temperatures are below freezing point, the ice crystal falling from the altostratus clouds melt and reach the ground as snow. The heaviest snowfall is reported to occur from the air which snow is falling is not below 0 degrees because under such a condition the moisture content is uniform. Hail. It is a type of precipitation which falls in the form of small pellets of ice, hailstones, which are diameter between 5 and 50 mm. Now, hail is created when moisture and wind are together. Inside the cumulonimbus clouds, ice crystals form and begin to fall towards the surface of Earth. When this starts to happen, wind gusts starts to pick up the ice crystal, pushing them up into clouds. As they start to fall down, again they continue to grow in size. A wind gust might catch the hailstone again, which will push it back into the cloud. This whole process gets repeated several times before the hailstone becomes so big that it is too heavy for the wind to carry, so it falls down to the earth. The hailstorm consists of concentrated layers of ice alternating with layers of snow. Now, the structure of hailstone, student, resembles to that of an onion. Fog. There is no difference between fog and the clouds that are high in the sky. In simple terms, fog is a cloud that is formed near the surface of the earth. There are four main types of fogs: radiation fog, advection fog, upslope fog, and evaporation fog. For drizzle, I would like to tell you all something more. It is that drizzle is uniform precipitation composed exclusively of water drops. The radiuses are less than 500 microns. They are formed in very saturated clouds with high water content. Their relative humidity is the interlayers of air between the cloud base and the ground, often nearly 100%. It amounts to 100%. Dew. Now, what is dew? The small drops of water which can be found on cool surfaces like grass in the morning. This is the result of atmospheric vapor condensing on the surface in the colder night air. Dew point is the temperature in which condensation starts to take place or when dew is created. Mist or drizzle. Mist is a bunch of small droplets of water which are in the air. This occurs with cold air when it is above a warm surface, for example, water. Sorry. Fog and mist are very similar. The only difference is their visibility. If you cannot see 1 kilometer less, you know you're dealing with fog. Now, students, how you all can differentiate between a fog and mist, as they are very similar. The only difference is their visibility. If you cannot see 1 kilometer or less, you know you're dealing with fog. You can see visuals through mist, and it is more haze looking than a thicker substance. It's quite hazy in mist. So again, you can see visuals through mist, and it is more haze looking than a thicker substance. Glaze. This is also one form of precipitation. Glaze is the ice coating, generally clear and smooth, formed on exposed surfaces by freezing of supercooled water deposited by rain or drizzle. Look at the picture, you all can relate to it. I repeat, and you all look at the picture. Glaze is the ice coating, generally clear and smooth on exposed surfaces by the freezing of supercooled water deposited by rain or drizzle. Rime. Rime. Again, you all will look at the picture and you all will listen to what I say. Rime is the white opaque deposit of ice granules more or less separated by trapped air and formed by rapid freezing of supercooled water drops impinging on exposed objects. If you look at the figure, you all can realize that each word stands true for what is being described, how it is being described. They look like ice granules which are more or less are separated by trapped air and formed by rapid freezing of supercooled water drops. Sleet. This is another form of precipitation. Sleet consists of transparent, globular, solid grains of ice formed by the freezing of raindrops or freezing of largely melted ice crystals falling through a layer of sub-freezing air near the Earth's surface. Sleet is a type of precipitation. Actually, it is in the form of rain and snow. It is a mixture of rain and snow. Sleet is a mixture of rain and snow. It is frozen rain which forms when rain, while falling to the earth, passes through a layer of cold air mass or freezes. If you all see, every form of precipitation has its own formation. Their structure is different, they vary in shape, size, and formations. Sometimes sleet may grow into hailstorms when violent vertical currents are produced in the atmosphere. So it may grow into hailstorms, sleet may get converted into hailstorms when violent vertical currents are produced in the atmosphere. Students, this gets us to the end of lesson 3. I have covered overall what is atmosphere, what is the characteristic of atmosphere, then what are the different layers or the structures of atmosphere, that is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, exosphere. I told you all and showed you all how the bifurcation is done. We spoke about heat balance in detail, the heat and atmosphere, how are they connected, the short wave and the long wave, terrestrial radiation, solar radiation comes under heat balance. I spoke to you all about net radiation. Then we came to the next topic, that was pressure belts. The different 7 pressure belts we studied. What is its connection with the wind system? Wind individually, what is wind? What are the different kinds of winds? I gave you all information about that. Trade winds, planetary winds, local winds, subpolar winds, all of those. Then the equatorial low pressure belt in the winds, the Earth's surface wind system, the equatorial belt of the variable winds, the easterlies, the westerlies was spoken in detail. The last topic spoken about was precipitation. Precipitation, what was the meaning? The forms of types of precipitation. That is, I covered rain, drizzle, snow. If you all see, we have spoken a lot about individually about different kinds of precipitation. Began with rain, snow, hail, fog, dew, mist, glaze, rime, sleet. So this gets us to an end of the chapter atmosphere. There will be short answers, long answers, and you all will be able to solve all of those because a lot of detailing has been done and given to you all regarding this chapter. We will continue with the next chapter in the next class. That would be hydrosphere. So that completes 3 chapters for now. The next topic what we'll be talking about is hydrosphere. Thank you, students.